Glad you're still with us. Let's now bring in our guest, economist Akin Fatunke. Akin, thank you very much for joining us. Given Nigeria's poverty rate reaching 36% in 2023, how would you assess the effectiveness of the government's poverty alleviation initiatives in the past year?
Thank you very much, Felicity, and Happy New Year. Thanks for having me. It's been a potpourri. Good, ugly, damn right ugly. And if you juxtapose that alongside where we were coming from, where you had macroeconomic disjoints, the present regime of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has tried to bring in some semblance of macroeconomic stability by looking at those issues that continually throw us off, continue to borrow and not be efficient in borrowing. However, the twin factors which are the plank of that intervention, mobile fuel subsidy, devaluation of the naira, some people call it floating of the naira, has added short-term pressures on households and farms. I must also say that in the past 1 year, a lot, ostensibly, according to what we hear, has been done, but it's been very little, though not too late. And we need to have a means of measuring whatever it is we are managing. So the social interventions need to be adequately audited. We see it openly and glaring, but nobody can say that it is not happening, because I know, for instance, the National Social Safety Net Program in the scale up, the one that talked about 25,000 naira to vulnerable persons across the board. Yes, many people are saying we don't know who this is going to. Yes, many people are saying we don't know if it's going to political parties and their aficionados. We need to continue to dig deep. If 4.4 million, according to government sources, I hope this is not a propaganda, have at least gotten one tranche of 25,000. I think it's a good move in the right direction.
On the flip side, what specific measures, or should we say programs, that was introduced by the Tinubu administration in 2024 had the most significant impact on poverty alleviation, if any, for you?
Oh, yeah, for me, I think if you give 5,000 naira to the poorest of the poor and you're able to identify that they are the poorest of the poor, not the likes of me, not the likes of you, who are in the urban center. I'm not saying we are not feeling poverty. The kind of turnover you are going to get is going to be humongous. I did a study during the change of cash, in the wake of the former president leaving, and I found that people in the village, they could make do with 5,000 naira. It was a big surprise to me. So I think strengthening this and making sure it goes beyond, urban areas to go to the poorest of the poor. And I'm glad that the cash register is now being streamlined to be the gateway to which government can now begin to measure. Before now, even under President Bola Tinubu, we had a lot of noise regarding the former Minister for Poverty Alleviation, who virtually was following the tool of her predecessor in office. Well, I think this is now being streamlined in a way that I think it's supposed to get to the poorest of the poor. We can only continue to grow. The budget is also trying to recognize how to use these safety nets. And I'm glad that Mr. President, presenting the budget to the National Assembly, specifically did mention that aspect of the social intervention has to be overhauled. Yeah.
All right. Just talk to us as briefly as you can on the controversy around the removal of fuel subsidy in 2024 and the impact of the removal and the devaluation of the naira on the economic challenges that Nigerians faced. And is there hope is there light rather at the end of the tunnel from your vantage point?
Well, my point, I don't know whether it's going to be vantage. Depends on what side of the stick.
Because you're an economist, so you're more abreast with the figures and the trends.
Economics is a science, no doubt about that, but it's behavioral. I mean, what I think is good for me might not be good for you. And it's not, cut and paste kind of situation. But I think basically we needed to do a balancing on the macroeconomic issues. I agree, and I said that at the onset, that removal of the fuel subsidy, plus a lot of hardship, inflation moving over the roof, and the purchasing power for people in 2024 and going to 2025 is still going to be very hard. But I'm glad that Mr. President has been speaking to the subnationals. Please help see what you can do about agri. Begin to now do the intervention. I was listening to somebody in the clip that you played by Adebola there, that they are getting food, they're not getting money. Yeah, it's not going to be a perfect cut fit. It's necessary. We must look at it. Subnationals are getting more money, and the national minimum wage, the subnationals are supposed to now be doing something and cultivating the land. I'm glad Mr. President is saying what he needs to do. But however, and always, now at the federal, at the state, even at the local government levels, we need to begin to cut codes according to size, reduce cost of governance.
It's a new year. Let's see what happens. Thank you for speaking with us.
Yes, a new year, and I'm very positive. Thanks for having me.
And Happy New Year. I couldn't respond earlier because you were speaking.
Yes, thank you very much. It's going to be well for Nigeria. I'm so sure it's going to be well for Nigeria if all of us put our hands on the plow.
All right,
and
sir.
we're on the top.